back and he said, "You really buried the lead in this one." But Casus Belli. How many press are here? Anyway, there was a meeting among the items considered and rejected, which is why the New Yorker did not publish it on grounds that it wasn't accepted. One of the items was why not? There was a dozen ideas proffered how to trigger a war. The one that interested me the most was, why don't we in our shipyard build 4 or 5 boats that look like Iranian PT boats, put Navy SEALs on them with a lot of arms, and the next time one of our boats goes through the Straits of Hormuz, start a shoot-up. Might cost some lives, and it was rejected because you can't have Americans killing Americans. But that's the level of stuff we were talking about, provocation. But that was rejected. So I could understand the argument of not writing something that was rejected. Maybe. My attitude always towards editors is they're mice training to be rats. So, but you have to, but the point is, J. June, if you know what that means, silly, maybe, but potentially very lethal, because one of the things they learned in the incident was the American public, if you get the right incident, the American public will support, bang, bang, kiss, kiss, we're into it. And the public, although that was the other side that had issue that was important, what happened in the Gulf, in the Straits in early January, the president was just about to go to the Middle East for a visit. So that was one reason they wanted to gin it up, get it going. Look, is it high school? Yeah. Are we playing high school with, 5,000 nuclear warheads in our arsenal? Yeah, we are. We're playing, who's the first guy to run off the highway with us in Iran.
And things haven't changed any,
No, and now you got all this talk about Israel doing, making the final leap to attack Iran. And again, it's all about nuclear weapons. No, folks, it's about oil. It's about the dollar. It's about Anglo-American empire. It's about us conquering the world. And this is the last point. And I don't think Iran is actually the toughest of all of those little nations. It's a popularly educated, wealthy society. It's not, it hasn't been
too content with their government either, though.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not happy with Obama, but I tell you what, if China lands on my shores,
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing. I was reading about somebody whose theory is that after the empire collapses, after the dollar collapses, there's going to be score settling with us because we've been bullying the whole world for, since World War I, arguably, maybe since the Russo-Japanese, since the early 1900s, we've kind of been bullying the world. So Russia, this guy was theorizing Russia and China are going to come after us, invade us. Now, personally, I think that's highly unlikely.
Yeah, I posed something similar to that, but it wasn't about them coming after us. Mm-hmm. The idea that I put out there is called the anti-hegemon. And the idea is that we're a hegemon. We're a world hegemon. We control the world. But there's a group of actors out there who don't necessarily benefit off this paradigm. So it's very easy to see that Iran, China, Russia, Venezuela, don't benefit from the Anglo-American empire, and they've all become victims of that Anglo-American empire. We were talking earlier about the Opium Wars. Yeah. We could talk about the Mossadegh in Iran getting overthrown by CIA operatives. The collapse of Russia, World War II, World War I, and all these nations don't benefit off of the Anglo-American empire. And while I don't think that they're going to aggressively attack us, because they don't need to, you have to understand all the posturing and fighting and all this other stuff has been all around the great chessboard, which is Asia. Mm-hmm. We're the ones that have been interfering in there. I think what's going to happen is if the dollar collapses, we won't have the ability, funds, popularity, moral fortitude to do anything. And it's just going to be a retreat. It'll be a vacuum. Those nations are going to be able to spread their regional wings, but I don't think they're going to, take that as a ticket to come invade us with 180 million gun owners. And
doesn't make a lot of sense. And, there was a funny thing, like I consider a lot like you, I'm trans-political. I don't buy into either party, liberal, conservative. I don't buy into all the liberal, conservative, blah, blah, blah. But there was a survey taken, and people who describe themselves as liberal are now pro-gun, And that's another thing of the Anglo, the government statism is don't need to defend yourself, don't need to learn how to, don't need the implements to defend yourself. We'll take care of you, so you don't need those guns, right? Don't worry about those guns. You don't need them. We'll take care of it. And now, that illusion of security, of protection by the state is dying a kind of quick death. And
yeah, I'm actually in 3 days I'm going to get my concealed carry permit for Ohio.
Well, I'm in Connecticut now. I could get one here. I could get one in New York if I was so inclined, but it's just more trouble than it's worth, frankly. But it's the whole. Now this bill is pending in Congress to federalize basically concealed carry permits, grant reciprocity. So if you get one in Utah, which you could do mail order as long as you take a course, it'll be good in any state. So Obama will certainly veto it. But you know what? Nevada, Harry Reid state, big gun state, and it's the kind of thing that I wouldn't care what they did in Congress to push it through and to override vetoes or anything else. They could change all the rules of that place. That is the one law that I feel is more important, than anything else they're doing or have done, in a long time. So on that, Chris,
the Second Amendment. I mean, it's the final line. People worry about confiscation of silver. That's one thing, but slaves don't own guns. Yeah. And that's such a defining thing. And it's not, to go out and, go wave your gun around like you're a big man or something like that. It's what the gun is? It's the only way the individual can stand up to the collective.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate equalizer.
The great equalizer, right?
Yep.
And hopefully we're joining in the equalization process by giving the knowledge out there to people that otherwise wouldn't have access to it. So on that note, Chris, where do we find you?
Right now you can find me on don't-tread-on.me. You can come to Sons of Liberty Academy, and if you like the kind of thought process I do, I've started a members-only site with the Silver Shield Report. And again, you can find that on don't-tread-on.me.
Highly recommended, by the way. Highly recommended.
Thank you.
And hey, it's good talking to you, man. Get some rest.
Thank you.
Feel better, and we'll catch you next week.
Sounds good, Kerry.
All right. Be well.